Eve had met Lucian online first, specifically in a Facebook Chaos Magick group where most of the members were unemployed occultists pretending their inability to hold down a job was a spiritual choice. People who thought jizzing on a sigil was a life-changing ritual but couldn't manifest basic hygiene. Edgelords who talked about breaking reality but still lived with their parents. Lucian had stood out immediately, not because he was powerful, but because he actually believed his own bullshit. His profile was a gallery of aesthetic occult fuckery. Glitch art, esoteric memes with layered sigils, cryptic posts that made no sense but sounded just mystical enough to impress people who had never read a real book. And in the comments, a trail of thirsty initiates, hanging onto his every word. Eve had taken one look at his trisexual chaos magician bio and thought, another one who thinks wanking on a sigil is an actual path to enlightenment. She hadn't expected to run into him in real life, and now she was sitting across from him, watching him deploy his best reality manipulation trademark techniques like she hadn't seen this script before. Lucian murmured, smirking as he traced a sigil onto his whiskey glass with one lazy finger. Lucian, you feel it, don't you? Eve, feel what? Lucian, the connection, he said, voice laced with practiced mystique. Lucian, the way our energy has been building for months. You noticed it, right? The signs? So this was how he was playing it. Lucian wasn't just seducing her with words. He had been implanting ideas into her subconscious for weeks, tagging her in random esoteric memes that were actually sigil-charged spells, using subliminal sexual imagery in his digital art to prime her unconscious mind, liking her posts at just the right intervals to create an artificial psychic tether. This was Meme Magick 101. Lucian wasn't manifesting his desires. He was trying to hijack hers. Unfortunately for him, Eve wasn't a chaos magician. She was immune to bullshit. The problem with chaos magic as Eve saw it was simple. Step 1, draw a sigil. Step 2, wank on it. Step 3, question marks. Step 4, wonder why your life is still a mess. The entire philosophy boiled down to doing whatever the fuck you wanted and calling it esoteric wisdom. And Lucian, he was the final boss of that mindset, a man who fully believed he could manipulate reality with badly drawn sigils and strategically placed thirst traps. And worse, he thought Eve was his next successful experiment. Lucian's voice broke the tension. Lucian, you wouldn't have met up with me if you weren't curious. Admit it, the connection is real. Eve's response was sharp. Eve, you mean the connection you spent months manufacturing? Lucian's smirk flickered, because no one had ever called him out like that before. She watched as he processed it, his mind flickering through pre-rehearsed responses, looking for a way to regain control. The thing inside him didn't like this. Not one bit. Lucian had sold his soul on purpose. Not for power, not for money, but because he hated himself enough to become something else. Something that didn't have to feel human anymore. Something that didn't have to care that every sigil, every ritual, every spell he cast was just another desperate attempt to fill the void inside him. Lucian wasn't an enlightened magician. Lucian was a meat suit for an ancient parasite, running a script of seduction and manipulation that had worked on dozens before her. And tonight, he thought it was going to work on Eve. Eve sipped her drink, unimpressed. Eve, you know what's funny? Lucian, what? Eve, you've been wanking on sigils for years, and yet somehow you're still here, with me, a woman who sees right through your shit. Lucian's pupils shrank, because he knew. She had seen him, not the persona, not the magical aesthetic, him and the thing inside him. It recognized what she was. Lucian thought he was the virus. He didn't realize Eve was the antivirus, and tonight, she wasn't going to exorcise him, she was going to overwrite him. End of chapter 1. What's new in this version? Lucian and Eve met in a Facebook Chaos Magick group. Chaos Magick satirized as wanking on sigils to no avail, Lucian using Meme Magick as subliminal mind control. Lucian isn't just possessed, he knowingly sold his soul and is running a manipulation script, Eve flipping the entire game on him. Now, Lucian isn't just a self-important occult fuckboy, he's a full-fledged parasite host, peddling meme magic and spiritual gaslighting while completely failing to realize he's about to be destroyed.